everybody, it's TF Renegade here, and I hope everyone's having a fantastic day today. Today is a big video. We're going to be taking a look at the Transformers Studio Series 86 Constructicons. But before we look at these guys, I got a little backstory to tell you guys about myself. So back when I was a wee little TF Renegade, maybe back in 06 or 07, I used to love watching like G1 toy commercials on YouTube. I was obsessed with it. I thought the toys looked so cool. It was just everything I wanted. So every birthday or Christmas, every time I made a list, I was like, here's like an eBay link. Can you guys go buy me Devastator? But sadly, he never came. And then when Combiner Wars came out, I totally skipped that guy. I was working at that time and I was like, nope, I am not getting that. I was not a big fan of the IDW-esque designs of the Transformers back then. So I totally skipped him. But now we finally have good representations of these characters. But that's not to say they are perfect. They definitely have their flaws, which we will look at. But during the video, we're going to split these guys up into different groups since it's going to be a little difficult to kind of grab everyone at once. So we're going to start off with Bonecrusher and Scavenger. So here we have Bonecrusher and Scavenger in their robot modes. And I got to say, these guys look pretty good. I mean, they're pretty much spot on to how they looked in the cartoon and in the movie. Bonecrusher here, I would say, suffers the most, though. I don't think they did an excellent job on this guy. So let's go ahead and look at him first. So Bonecrusher here comes with a little gun. Usually we do the accessories last, but since there's so many figures, we're just going to go through it with each figure. So we got this little blaster here that he comes with, and it's a pretty good looking blaster, nothing too special there. So you got that right there. And then with Bonecrusher himself, I actually think this guy is okay, but could have been better, you know, especially with his arms. These arms are so lame, dude. I can't, like, there's just not enough words to kind of express how awful these arms are designed. But it's probably just due to, like, maybe a compromise with the price point and such, because they have to include this big old piece back here for his arm. So you've got this big old chunk of plastic on his backpack here. But, you know, you could take this piece off if you want to. You don't have to have that attached. So you can take it off if you want a cleaner backpack. But it does suck that we do have to take it off. But at the same time, we need it if we're going to turn this guy into Devastator later. So it was probably just due to having this big chunk of plastic that we got stuck with such flimsy little, little arms. Like, they don't even look like they match him. Like, his proportions, they just look like little baby arms compared to his body. You know what? That's enough dogging on this guy. I don't want to be too mean to him. Come on. But when it comes to his head, it's a pretty good representation of him. I think it looks pretty spot on to his G1 show version of Bonecrusher. So it looks pretty good. He's got his little flap right here, just becomes his chest. So you got that. I mean, it looks kind of ugly. It's not too pretty from the side. So you can see that. Again, probably could have been done better. A lot of third parties somehow figure out how to do that, so I'm not too sure what happened with Bonecrusher here with Studio Series 86. But when it comes to his legs, they're just a green color. There's not too much going on down here. So yeah, that's it for him. So when it comes to Scavenger, I think this guy is probably the better of the two deluxes that we've gotten in the set. I think his proportions are done a lot better. His arms look a lot better. The ball joints on him aren't as weird looking, so I really like how this guy turned out. I love the purple on his legs this time. I think this is a better way of breaking up that green color, so I really enjoy that. And that's nothing against Bonecrusher because he's supposed to have all green on him. That's just his color palette, but I do really like the purple on him. I think it looks great. And then when it comes to the back of him, his backpack is just his little excavator piece. I mean, it's just kind of in there, but you can take it off if you want to, if you want a flatter back, which is a nice addition if you want to do that. When it comes to his head sculpt, looks fantastic. I love his head sculpt a lot, so that looks pretty cool. You can see that. And this time they actually incorporated the arm into his torso here, so this will come into play later when you're transforming into Devastator. But yeah, this whole section is the arm, so that's a lot better than having just a big black piece stick off the back there. So you got that. And when it comes to his accessory, he just comes with a little blaster here. So you can see that. Got some nice molded details on it. So there you go with him. When it comes to the articulation, we'll start with Bonecrusher here. He can look to the left. He can look to the right. He can look all the way around. If you want him to, you have the option there. You can make him look up. He can look down upon you if you so choose, which is great. He can stick his stubby little arm out. He can move it all the way around. No problems there with the backpack. He does have a ball joint on his elbow here, so that thing can just move around freely. but nothing with his wrist because his hand is just molded into place. I hate that, but it is just probably a budgetary problem, so it can't really be helped. When it comes to the waist swivel, this is kind of a bummer. You have to bring this whole chest piece down in order to move it. So he really doesn't have a waist swivel. It's kind of cheating to do that, but it is there if you want to try to get him in some dynamic poses. So there you go. When it comes to his leg, he does have a thigh rotation. He can kick forward all the way. He can kick back all the way as well. He can kick out to here, which is great. And then, of course, he's got a knee bend. Oh, that's tight. So I'm going to say that's a 10 out of 10 on the bend. It does go the full 90, so we love that. And then, of course, he's got little feet rockers right there, which are also tight. Wow. And then you can make him stand any way you please. But get out of here. We got to look at oh my gosh, we got to look at Scavenger. I keep wanting to call him Scrapper. I don't know why. So when it comes to Scavenger, he can look to the left, he can look to the right, he can look all the way around as well, which is fantastic. He cannot look up. He can look down just a little bit upon you, so you have the option there. He can stick his nice arm out all the way, which is great. He can move it all the way around. Nothing gets caught back here. He's got a ball-jointed elbow, so that thing moves freely as well. And his wrist doesn't move either. It can only go in and out for transformation, so very sad. And when it comes to his waist rotation, none. So you can't even move his at all, so bummer on that. But he can kick forward, he can kick back all the way, which is nice. He has a thigh rotation as well. He's also got a nice knee bend. It's a 10 out of 10 on the bend. And then, of course, he also has foot rockers, which are tight. Wow, that one too. So you can make him stand. Oh, maybe. Any way you please. So now it's time for our Voyagers here. We got Scrapper and Mixmaster, who become the legs on Devastator. We're going to start off with Scrapper here since he was the first one to come out. So when it comes to Scrapper here, I actually do really enjoy this figure. And when I've seen other reviews, a lot of people were very underwhelmed by him. And I can see why, but at the same time, I do really love this guy. And I love the way he feels. I think he's just a really nice looking version of Scrapper. He just looks really, really nice. The problem with a lot of these guys is just they're kind of like scaled down versions of the Combiner Wars versions. So they have a lot of the same issues that those figures had, especially with the wrist rotations. A lot of these guys just don't have it, which is a bummer, I know, but it can't really be helped. But when it comes to Scrapper, I really love the head design. I think the head design is spot on. This is exactly how Scrapper should look. So I think that looks excellent. I think his chest details are also really awesome. I love his Decepticon symbol right there in the gray, or not gray, the silver, I'm sorry, with the black on the inside and the red on the top. That looks really awesome. The purple on the inside is a great way to break up the colors as well. And then he's got his normal green over here, nice silver painted legs. I really like that. A lot of figures just go for gray, but they actually went silver, so that looks pretty nice. And then back here, he does have a bit of a backpack, but I don't really mind it that much. It's kind of just part of the character, so you have that right there. And then his little butt piece is just the cockpit of the machine, so you have that. And I guess he's telling me I have to look at the gun here, so there's our weapon. So you can see that right there. It's actually a really nicely molded weapon there. I like that gun a lot. Looks pretty cool. So you got that there. And then I have to touch on the other fact back here. He does have some really hollow legs. So that's a bit of a bummer. But aside from that, I mean, he's a pretty solid figure. I really don't dislike him. I know a lot of people do, but I'm a fan. So that's it for him. So when it comes to our buddy Mixmaster here, he is a more recent release. And I think this guy did turn out a little bit better than Scrapper when it comes to the quality. You can definitely feel he's a little chunkier, and the plastic feels a lot better on him. But I gotta say, I actually like Scrapper a little bit more when it comes to the playability. I don't know what it is, but I think Scrapper's just a little bit more fun. But Mixmaster's not a bad figure at all, and I really like the colors on him. I think the complete purple takeover here in the middle of the figure looks really nice. I love the little detail right there. I love the little black parts right here. The Decepticon logo right down there looks pretty cool. And I love the design of the wheels over here. Mixmaster's always had a pretty cool design with his arms, but when it comes to the backpack, it can't really be helped because that is part of the figure. But if that's something that bothers you, I understand it. But for me, it's whatever. It is what it is. And then back here, we also see his vehicle mode. is stationed on the back of his legs, which is kind of weird because Mixmaster, his vehicle mode is just so awkward in his robot mode because like his window right here is supposed to be pointing down. So it's not completely accurate to how he looked in the cartoon, but it's pretty close, and it's a lot better than what Combiner Wars did. This is like 10 times better than whatever they were doing with that. So I think Mixmaster turned out pretty good. And then he's also got these heels back here, so you have options to keep him supported. So you don't have to worry about him falling backwards. So that's pretty good. And then when it comes to his weapon, he comes with this little blaster. Nice little molded blaster right there. So yeah, that's it for Mixmaster. So here's the important part about the figures, the articulation. When it comes to Scrapper, he can look to the left, he can look to the right, he can look all the way around if you want him to. He can look up a little bit, he can look down upon you just a tad bit. You can't get too much out there. You could stick his arm out all the way up to there, which is pretty nice. Can it go up more? Nope, that's about it. You can move it all the way around, but it does kind of get hindered on his little bucket there, so you gotta maneuver it around it, which kind of sucks, but it is what it is. And also when you're trying to move it, this tab kind of gets stuck sometimes, so you gotta be careful about how you move it. You just gotta keep it out all the way when you do it, so you have that. And he also has a bicep rotation. He has an elbow bend, which is nice, but nothing with the wrists. Again, just molded in place and can go in and out for transformation purposes only. He does not have a waist swivel, so that's a really big bummer because he is a Voyager class, so it really sucks that they couldn't do that. But I also understand he does turn into a foot on Devastator, so you got to make your sacrifices where they're at. And when it comes to his legs, he can kick out all the way. He can kick back up to there. That's about it. But he can kick out all the way. You can get a nice kick out of him there, which is nice. He has a thigh rotation, which is great. He has a knee bend, 90. So that's a 10 out of 10 in my book. And then, of course, he's got little feet rockers. So you can make Scrapper stand any way you please. And then we'll take a look at Mixmaster here. So this is the part. It's a little difficult. You got to get your fingers in here. He can look to the left. He can look, oh boy, here we go. He can look to the right. He can look all the way around. Oh boy, come on, let's go. If you want him to, he cannot look up, but he can kind of look down because his head's on a ball joint. So there you go. He can look down just a little bit. You could stick his arm out up to about there, maybe. You gotta maneuver it so you can get it up to there, like that. And you can move it all the way around. This time the backpack doesn't get in the way, which is great. He has a bicep rotation, and he does have an elbow bend all the way down here. Nothing with the wrist, though. It's actually just molded in place and doesn't move at all, so you have that. Also, no waist rotation on him. Kind of sucks, but it is what it is. So he can kick forward. He can kick backwards all the way, which is nice. He can kick out all the way, which is fantastic. We love that. And then he can bend at the knee. He can get a 90 out of it, but kind of gets a little weird because this piece back here, so you can't really make it straight. So there's that. I mean, it's still a 10 out of 10. He can go the whole 90 there. And then, of course, he's got little foot rockers, so Mixmaster can stand any way you please. So last but not least, we're going to look at Long Haul and Hook from the Commander class pack that they came in. It was a 2-pack. And I gotta say, I actually think these guys are the weakest out of the whole pack, which is weird because they are Commander class figures, but these guys are pretty much the weakest. And I think the only reason they became such a high price point is just because it does come with all of Devastator's pieces right here in this little gizmo trailer, and we'll look at that more later. But you know, they're still pretty much on par with the other figures when it comes to their quality. So with Long Haul here, he's pretty much the most simple character. I really do like the design of his chest here. I love that dump truck-esque chest piece that he's got, and then I love his fat head. It's not an entire head, though. It's kind of just flat on the back there, which is kind of lame. But, you know, you do have that head, and it looks all right. I think it's a pretty good design. It's a little boring in my books, but that's just how the character is. And then, of course, he's got a chunky design to him. He's a little more skinny in the show, but you can't really do that with the toy. You have to make him chunky in order to make Devastator work. But as it is, I don't think the proportions are too bad. His arms look okay. His legs are pretty cool. He's got some nice details right here with the red and blue, so I like that a lot. He's got a lot of black to kind of break up that green color. Nice Decepticon logo over here, which is nice. And then over on the back, he's actually got a pretty good backpack. Nothing too bad there. His wheels do stick out on the back, but not too bad. So I think that turned out pretty good. And then when it comes to his gun, it's just this little gun right here. So got that little green gun. It's all right. I think the other guns are a little cooler than this, but you do have that for him if you so choose. So taking a look at the last Constructicon here, we've got Hook, and I think he looks pretty good. I really like the way he looks from the front. I love the purple in the middle. Nice Decepticon logo right there. I think his arms look really good. They're very similar to Mixmaster, so you have that. And then over here, he's got nice legs. I like the silver on here, but for some reason, they painted his thighs gray instead of silver. So it really doesn't match with like Scrapper and stuff. I don't know what happened with the paint jobs. Maybe that was just like a, hey, let's paint Scrapper silver, and then, oh, wait, Hook, let's just do gray. We'll put the silver on his shins over here. So I don't know what happened with that, but it's still okay. It's not terrible. He's got gray on his feet. It's just molded plastic down there. When it comes to the feet, I know Hook is supposed to have like the vehicle in the front part, but they decided to just give him little tootsies over here instead of using the vehicle mode as the feet, which is okay. I think it still looks pretty good. I don't really have any complaints with it, but I really don't like this backpack back here. I think it's just a little too, maybe just a little too much, especially with this hook part. But if you wanted to, you could take it off. So it's a little bit better, but it's still pretty fat back there. I mean, it's super thick though. It's not like there's no hollow areas on him. He's pretty solid and chunky. So I would rather take solid and chunky over a hollow mess. So at least he's got that going for him. But aside from that, he's pretty decent. And his head sculpt is really nice. I really love how his head looks. I think they did a really good job with that. So yeah, and then he's also got this little gun here. Let's not forget about the gun. I almost did. He's got a really nice gun. I like the way it's designed. It's pretty cool. I like the barrel. I think that looks pretty good. So yeah, that's it for him. So when it comes down to the articulation, our boy Long Haul here can look to the left, he can look to the right, he can look all the way around very easily, not too many problems there. He cannot look up, but he can look down, so you have the option there, but you can't really see anything. His chest is in the way, so got that. He can stick his stubby little arm out as well. You can move it all the way around. He doesn't get caught on anything, so you have that. He does have a ball-jointed elbow, so it just moves freely however you want to do that. Nothing with the wrist. It only goes in and out for transformation purposes. He does not have a waist rotation either, which sucks. So none of these guys really have one. It's a bit of a bummer, but he can kick forward all the way. He can kick back all the way. He can kick out all the way to there. Not much of an impressive kick, but he can do it if he wants to. He does have a thigh rotation. He has a knee bend. It's a 10 out of 10 on the bend. And of course, he's got foot rockers. He's got chunky feet. So these are really nice to kind of articulate if you want. So you can make him stand any way you please. And then we'll take a look at our guy Hook over here. So he can also look to the left. He can look to the right. He can look all the way around. It's a little difficult because of his shoulder pads over here, but you can lift those up if you want to. So it's a little bit easier. So at least there's an option there. He cannot look up, but he can look down upon you if you so choose. You can stick his arm out. You got to lift up the flap. So you have that, but you can't really move it all the way around. You could, but you got to stick it out. So you got to kind of do some fandangling there to get that going. He has a bicep rotation similar to Mixmaster. He has an elbow bend all the way down here. Nothing with his wrist. Goes in and out. Transformation. Again, no wrist swivel, or not wrist, waist. No waist swivel on him, which sucks. But he can kick out all the way. He can kick back to there. He can kick up to the side. Come on, man, move all the way up there. So that's a pretty impressive kick there. And then he's also got thigh rotation, which is great. And then he's got a knee bend. It's a 9 out of 10. He cannot go the full 90, which is sad, but it is what it is. And then we've got foot rocker. So Mr. Hook over here can stand any way you please. And then his little hook back here can help him support. So you got that too. So for comparison, we're going to go ahead and slap all the figures in the middle so you can see how they look with everybody. We're going to start off with Devastation Optimus Prime. You can see he's a tiny boy. He doesn't really compare well with everybody, but it'll probably look better later with Devastator all combined. So you have him there. And then we'll go ahead and slap in Ground Soldier from Devastation. You can see he compares pretty well. I do like how they all look together there, so that looks pretty good. And then, of course, we'll bring out a Voyager. How about we slap Thundercracker in there this time so you can see how he looks. He's a lot taller than everybody else, so you got that. And then, of course, last but not least, the behemoth himself, Studio Series 86 Megatron, who is very tall compared to these guys. So there you go. So here we have the Constructicons in their vehicle mode, and I gotta say, guys, I'm a huge construction vehicle nuthead. I love how this set turned out. I love the way these construction vehicles look, and they look really accurate to how they looked in the cartoon and movie as well. So I think these guys turned out great, but they also have some issues with them, and we're gonna start off with Bonecrusher since he's the smallest and first guy to come out, and we can see he's kind of underwhelming, honestly, but he does have some nice paint. He's got nice purple in the front. Nice Decepticon logo in his bucket, but that's the chest piece right there. So you can see that. And then he's got some nice silver on the sides. So you got that over there. I think the back of this is also cleaned up pretty well. That back piece kind of keeps these guys tabbed in over here. So you have that. But yeah, I mean, he's mostly just a big green bulldozer. And he's got nice molded detail. I really like how that all looks as well. So I think he looks really good. He just doesn't have any wheels on the bottom. So he just kind of scrapes against the ground, which sucks. So when it comes to Scavenger, he's a similar story. He doesn't have any wheels on the bottom of his treads, so he also scrapes around, but I think he turned out excellent. I really love how Scavenger looks. This is just really nice purple down here on his treads. Nice molded details all throughout him. All over the place, looks nice. His back area is cleaned up really well. I love that. On the bottom, this all tabs together with his chest, so that looks pretty good. And then his excavator arm has a lot of hydraulics molded into it, which looks awesome. And you can move it all the way out here. You can move it all the way back there. He's got a hinge over here, so it goes up and down. Then he's also got a little bucket hinge, so you can move that in and out. But you just can't rotate this whole section up here. It's just stuck in place. So that really sucks, but, you know, it's not too terrible. And then he's got some nice purple over here on his little cabin area. Nice Decepticon logo on the top. So, yeah, I think he turned out pretty good. I like Scavenger a lot. So next up, we're going to start off with our Voyagers. We got our Scrapper over here, who is a nice loader, and I think he looks pretty cool. I like his wheels. They roll really nicely. As you saw before, he can roll excellent, so that's awesome. His bucket can move up and down if you want to, but you can't rotate the very end of this, and that kind of sucks. I wish they had an extra hinge right here, so he could come up to like a dump truck or something and just dump, but it is what it is. And then you can also lift this up all the way over here. So you have that option there as well. He's got a nice cabin area over here, nice purple all throughout. I think it looks pretty cool. And then the back area is cleaned up pretty nice as well. I like that a lot. He's got some nice stairs over here. Looks cool. It's got some nice detail right there. So you can see that there. Looks pretty cool. Nice details back here, over here in the front. So, yeah. And then the bottom is just his robot mode kibble. So, that's it for Scrapper. So next up here is our buddy Mixmaster, who I think turned out awesome. I really love how this guy turned out. He's a really chunky toy, man. He just feels really good in your hands. I really love this guy. I love the silver over here in the front. I think that looks good. He's got some nice purple windows, so you can see that. Nice windshield wipers over here. Over here on the side, he's got some nice door details. Got some nice details back here. Looks awesome. Over here on the back, his tires look awesome as well. He rolls great, so you don't have to worry about that. His little mixing thing back here doesn't move or anything, so that's kind of just stuck in place. But that's okay. I'm not too upset about that. This piece can kind of move down, but you're not really supposed to do that with a cement truck, but you could do that if you want to. You can also open this up, but that's mainly for the Devastator part of this whole figure, so you can do it if you want to. So you got that. I don't like how this part kind of cleans up in the back. It's kind of jarring how this looks, but it is what it is. It can't barely be helped since you need this to put him into his leg mode. So the same story over here looks pretty good on the bottom. I think it's cleaned up pretty well. I think it looks pretty good. So, yeah, I mean, that's about it for him. I think he's just a really nice cement truck. I think he turned out pretty good. Now, let's start with Long Haul over here. This guy is just a little dump truck, man, and he's pretty cool. I really do like this guy a lot. He's also a really chunky toy, so he feels really good in your hands, and he rolls great, too. You don't have to worry about anything with the rolling. I just wish that maybe there was a way to kind of design this so you could flip the insides of these legs out to kind of make it a little hollow in here so you could put something back here. But I'm not going to complain about that too much. It's not really a necessity. I still think it looks pretty good. So I think Long Haul turned out really good. I like his little purple windows over here. I like his Decepticon insignia on the front. Nice silver for the headlights. And then he's got some nice black over here for his grill. So that's pretty cool. Nice black over here. So that looks nice. Nice molded details there. So, I mean, yeah, he's just a little dump truck, so you can see his little head poking through there, too. So, yeah, I mean, that's about it for him. Nice red back here from his legs. So, pretty good dump truck. So, last but not least, let's take a look at Hook over here. And I gotta say, this guy is probably one of the best Constructicons in the pack for playability because his hook is so awesome. You can actually extend this thing all the way up, and you can extend it out a little bit more if you need to. You can move it all the way around as well, which is great. I just love that. That's a lot of good playability with this guy. I like that a lot. But when it comes to the design of him, he looks really cool. I mean, just ignore Devastator's big fat head in the middle there. But I really like the purple windows. I think that looks nice. Nice purple on the inside of his hook thing there. And then you got nice purple back here, which looks excellent. Nice painted wheels. Looks good. And then over here, not too much going on, just some good molded details throughout. And then he's got some nice silver painted headlights over here, which looks pretty cool. And then on the bottom, my version actually does not tab in very well at all with these feet. You can see there's some little tabs right there on the inside, and you can see where it's supposed to tab in there, but mine just don't want to maneuver in there. So that might just be my copy, but if yours does that, go ahead and comment down below, because I am interested to see if it's just mine or not. But yeah, you can see a lot of his robot kibble down here, but can't really be helped. And his mud flaps, or these aren't mud flaps, but the back of his vehicle does look pretty good back here. It's cleaned up very well. And you can move these up and down if you want to. So that's it for him. So now we need to take a look at the weakest part of the entire set, and that is the stupid little trailer that came with the Commander class figures to make up Devastator. So this is just the bottom part of his thighs, and it stores all these stupid pieces that fall off easily. It's just a way to store all of Devastator's pieces, so his arms and the little pieces that become his chest plate, and that's about it. I mean, it's whatever. It's really not important to anything in its vehicle mode. You can hook it up to Long Haul over here. It's got a couple little holes. You can see that right there. So if I can get that in there, you can actually go ahead and do that. So he does roll really nice with his little trailer if you want to do that, but it just looks really ugly, so there's not really a rhyme or reason to do that. But if you think it's cool, you do have that right there. So now it's time for some vehicle comparisons. So let's go ahead and slap Devastation Optimus Prime in here, and you can see how tiny this guy is. He really does not scale well with them at all. So you can see that. And then, of course, we'll bring out a Devastation Ground Soldier who has the terrible little windshield piece. So, yeah, I think he does scale up pretty well with them, though. I think he looks pretty nice. So you got that. And then we'll bring out a Voyager. Let's go ahead and slap Thundercracker in here from Earthrise. You can see how he looks. He's just huge compared to them, which is nice. And then last but not least, we got to bring out the behemoth himself, 86 Megatron. You can see he's a beast compared to them. He's pretty big. So there you go. All right, guys, it's time for the fun part. We're going to turn these little vehicles into one big dude. So we're going to start off with Scrapper over here. So what you want to do is just flip that up and then go ahead and take these legs and just pull them all the way around. Make sure they're all tabbed into place. Pull it around. Boom, do that. There you got Scrapper. Easy. Mixmaster is also pretty easy. So all you want to do is grab these bits right here in the front, elevate it all the way up to here, and then it will go ahead and snap into place there. You come around to the back, make sure these feet or not his feet, I'm sorry, his hands. Make sure these hands are brought out because when he's in his robot mode, you don't want these hands in the way when you're trying to move his ankle. And then you're also going to bring these bits down. So make sure you pull it all the way down so you can flip these pieces in, and then you can lock those into place right there. So you got that, and that's it for our boy Mixmaster. So now that we've moved up a level, we're going to go ahead and take this little trailer that we got earlier, and you're going to go ahead and fold this whole bit and make sure it folds up right here in the back, and then take these big beefy thighs, move them all the way down like so. It's a good leg day for Devastator. Move those flaps down, and then make sure these purple bits right here are maneuvered up and then tabbed into place. So now you got the bottom part of him right there. So you're going to take Mixmaster here, open that bad boy up, and then he's got a little slot right there that you're going to go ahead and slide that into, and then shut that back up. And then with Scrapper over here, you're going to take this tab that's on his foot and make sure it's lined up on the inside, push it all the way in, and then over here, clip his other leg right back into place. And then there you go with that. So next up, we're going to go ahead and take Long Haul over here, this nice little dump truck. We're going to go ahead and open up his legs back here, grab his little arms out, make sure they come out to there, and so you can move this flap back downward, make sure that's tabbed back into place, and then you can go ahead and maneuver his legs down to there, make sure everything's still tabbed in back there. Grab these tabs on the back side, they'll just go ahead and come out and lock the whole thing into place right there. So you got that. And then with his arms, you're going to maneuver this whole wheel set back out, and then grab this arm and rotate the arm all the way to there because you want this tab to tab in over here. So go ahead and click that into place. And then there's another tab that locks the whole thing. Well, if you can get it, locks the whole thing into place right there. So you do the same thing over here. Go ahead and move this around, lock that into place, and then do that there. So then where his head is right there, you're going to go ahead and slide that right where those purple bits are from earlier. And then there you go with him. Now we're moving up to the top. So go ahead and grab your hook figure that you have and then move these little pieces down to there. And then you're going to go ahead and rotate this whole assembly all the way over here. And you're going to want these two tabs right here to meet. Make sure that's pushed in. So then you're going to go ahead and connect those together and then make sure his arm's out of the way so it kind of stays straight up here. Make sure his hook is fastened to the back side. And then you're going to go ahead and elevate this section right here over to there. And then his head can go ahead and fit into the two tabs on the top, which I think is pretty genius engineering. So with his head, you can go ahead and bring it around, flip that bad boy out, and then pull it out, and then collapse it. So now you have the top part right here. And then on the bottom, make sure you pull out this little tab right there so you can connect easier. And then make sure this arm right here, this one can go back up, but this one needs to stay down. So over here, there's a little slot on the bottom of his foot that fits into the top of there. And then this is going to slide into the top of Long Haul. So you're going to go ahead and slide all that kind of in together so it can all snap in. So on this side, you're going to make sure the tab on his arm, on Long Haul's arm, is going to tab into the foot of Hook. So you can do that. And then on the other side, make sure his other arm can tab into Hook as well. And then Hook's arm is going to tab into Long Haul on the back side. So you have that. So there you go with them. Now our main goal is to give Devastator his arm. So on Hook, go ahead and lift up this bit on the side and rotate that out to the side so you have a nub there. And then on the other side, we'll give him another nub right there by rotating that piece out. So you have those right there. So go ahead and grab Bonecrusher, and then on the bottom, yank his feet apart. Grab this bit from earlier and rotate it to the side like so. And then you can go ahead and tab these bits right back into place. So you're going to want him facing upwards like so, and this bit facing out with the hollow piece right there. And then what you want to do is take one of these pieces, lift this piece out to there, make sure, well, that's the wrong side. Make sure you have the right side. So this one right here, flip it out to the side like so. And then on the inside, you can see that little tab, and that's going to line up with the tab on his arm right here. So you got that right there. So go ahead and make sure it's up. This slot right here is going to go with that nub, and then go ahead and slide the whole assembly into place like so. And then you're going to do the same thing to Scavenger. So go ahead and grab Scavenger on the bottom, yank these bits apart, grab this piece and pull it out, then lock the whole thing together go ahead and come over to this side. Make sure it's facing there. You're going to want this piece there with all the writing. So you got that. And then flip this whole assembly to there. So you have that. Same story. Grab this. It's got a little bit on the inside. Fits on this arm like so. Then make sure this slides into this side. And then boom, now your Devastator has his arm. So now we're going to finish off Devastator's chest with his crest. Whoa, guys, I guess I'm a rapper now. Go ahead and take those pieces that you had earlier, and you're going to want this wing angled upwards and the Decepticon logo angled up as well. And you're going to take this piece, and there's a little port right there that this can go ahead and fit into. Same thing on the other side. Make sure it's angled up, and then go ahead, find your little hole, and then go ahead, slap that into place. So on the back, we can see there's 2 tabs right there and tabs on the side. So everything's going to tab in on this part and in the middle of long haul. So go ahead, for the easiest way, maneuver his chest piece out and make sure this fits on the outside of his little thing there. It's a little hard to do. There you go. You're going to hear it snap into place. Then you can rotate the whole thing up and it will tab into place on the arms like so. And also with the arms, go ahead and turn this whole thing around. You can go ahead and tab these bits into long haul's arms right there. There's a tab on the inside you can see, which will lock into the treads on both sides right there. So before you finish off your Devastator, you have to turn him around to the back side over here. And then you see this piece from his trailer. You're going to go ahead and rotate this whole thing upwards, and it's going to lock into place right there. I don't know if you can see that. Right back here, you can see there's some nubs on long haul's back end, which goes into these little ports here. So you're going to go ahead, push that in to there, which locks his trailer pieces to the rest of his backpack right there. Make sure these bits on Mixmaster's legs, his arms, make sure they're rotated outwards, like I said before. And then, boom, now we have such a fantastic Devastator in his robot mode. And guys, this guy looks so good in person. Like, you guys can see pictures and even on this video, but having him in person, it's just such a breath of fresh air to see such a great representation of Devastator. This is exactly what I wanted when I was a kid. Like, this kind of look of Devastator, it's just so nice. All of his vehicle parts look fantastic in this robot mode, and I'm so happy that Hasbro didn't go with the skeleton design of like the other combiners that we get with Age of the Primes. I'm so happy that they engineered this guy to fully fit together and make such an iconic character come to life. This is just, oh, it's like the kid inside of me is just so giddy to see this guy. He's so cool. I love him so much. But you can see his feet over here look fantastic. I think Scrapper and Mixmaster turned out great as feet. You can see those right there. They're excellent. And then the waist bit is okay. I think the trailer kind of helped pull this whole thing together. And then the top, you can barely even see long haul in there. It's pretty cool how they kind of made that work. And hook looks excellent on the top. I'm glad that the head turned out really good on this guy as well. That's like huge for this. Usually when they do these combiners, like the head is kind of off in a little bit of a way, but Devastator's is perfectly proportioned with the shape of his body. And I just love this guy so much. I love how Scrapper and Bonecrusher look on the sides too. It's just so cool to see them like that. It's so awesome. And then on the backside, I really don't like the backpack. Like, that's one of the biggest complaints I have with this guy, is just this big old piece back here. But you could use it kind of like a handle. It kind of keeps the whole figure in place. It doesn't tab out. So it's a pretty good handle if you want to do that. But aside from that, like, the backside cleans up so well too, just seeing the backside of Mixmaster and Scrapper. Even the backsides of the arms are a little bit hollow, but I really don't mind it. I think they still look excellent. And yeah, I think Devastator is just such a good figure. I just, whew, it's awesome. Also, what you guys want to do, you can take these 2 guns that came with Scrapper, and you can combine them together right there. And this forms Devastator's gun. Another problem on this guy is that these holes on his hands are a little too big, I think, for the ports that are on these guns, because it's a little bit wobbly on here. You can see it's kind of loose in there like that. So I really don't like that. And they're little, like the arms up here are a little loose, but they're not terrible. So I don't want to diss it too bad. I still think it turned out really good. But aside from that, yeah, he's just a really nice figure. And then I want to touch on one more thing as well, and that is the weapon storage right over here, if I can grab these stupid guns. So you have all these little guns right here. So what you can do is you can take this gun that came with Long Haul, you can tab that into Mixmaster in the front, which is going to go ahead and create like one of Devastator's iconic pieces of his foot. If you could tab that in, my God. So you can go ahead and put that gun right there. And then the rest of his guns, it's kind of up to you what you want to do. You could port them on the side of Bonecrusher over here, or you could kind of tab them in back here on Long Haul. So you have options if you want to store them back here and such. But there are places to store the weapons, but, you know, I usually just put them off to the side. So you do have options if that is something you want to do. So now we're going to do the articulation, which is going to be a little difficult since he's pretty big, but let's go ahead and grab this big behemoth right here. So first, let's focus on his head. He can turn to the left, he can turn to the right, he can look all the way around, which is awesome. He could look upward if you want to have that big gap right there, but he cannot look down, which is a bummer, but it's okay. And when it comes to his arm, let's go ahead and move that upwards so we can see. You can move his arm out all the way, and then you can go ahead and rotate it all the way as well. He does have a bicep swivel, which is great, and then he also has an elbow bend. We love that a lot. He does have a wrist swivel, which is great. And then he also has hinges on his fingers, so you can go ahead and make those come out if you want to. When it comes to his waist swivel, he does have one. You can actually move that to the side, but it gets kind of hindered by that backpack, so it gets in the way, but you could move it if you want to, so you have options there. And then when it comes to his legs, you can go ahead and move that flap upwards, and then he can kick out all the way, which is awesome. He can kick back up to there because of the backpack. He can kick out all the way, which is awesome. You can get a fantastic kick out of Devastator there. And then he also has a thigh rotation. We love that a lot. And then his knee, he does have a 10 out of 10 on the knee bend, which is great. And then, of course, he has feet rockers because of his ankles, which is awesome. He can do it on Scrapper and Mixmaster, so you can make him stand any way you please. So for comparison, let's go ahead and slap Devastation Optimus in here, and he finally has somebody to scale well with. So I think these guys look really nice together. So you got that. And then we'll take a look at Ground Soldier from Devastation. Again, I think they pair up pretty nice. Pretty good size right there. And of course, we got to look at a Voyager figure with Thundercracker. So we'll slap him in there, and he's still huge compared to a Voyager class. So there you go with Thundercracker. And last but not least, let's bring out the 86 Megatron so you guys can see how they look with this guy. And yeah, he's a little too big, but it doesn't look too bad. I think it's pretty cool still. So you got that. And whoa, wait, guys. I think we got a special guest comparison coming in here. So we're going to compare Devastator with Masterpiece Jinrai, so you can see how these two look together, and move him over. So Jinrai's actually smaller than Devastator. I wasn't expecting that. I actually thought they were going to be the same size. But yeah, you could see how these two look together, and you know, in my personal opinion, I think Jinrai would whoop Devastator's butt, but that's my opinion. So what are my final thoughts on Transformers Studio Series 86 Devastator? Guys, this is a big win. This guy is like superb. I love this Devastator a lot. I love the proportions on him. The Constructicons, they're kind of meh, you know, like they don't have wrist rotation or waist rotation, which really sucks, but I still think they look really good for what they are. And they just combine into such a nice figure. And the vehicle modes are solid too. Aside from Bonecrusher and Scavenger not having little wheels on the bottom, I think they look really nice. And I love the wheels on Mixmaster and Scrapper. I think those turned out excellent. So I just really love how this guy turned out. For the collector's rating, I'm giving Devastator a 9. And I'm giving him a 9 just because the little robots don't have the wrist rotation or waist rotation, which really sucks. He has a huge backpack, which is a bummer. And his little ports right here are just a little too big, I think, for his gun. But aside from that, I think Devastator is so solid. You should pick this up. I know that all the figures are pretty easy to get a hold of right now in the US. I have to clarify this, in the US. He's pretty easy to find the Commander pack in Target. and you can find Bonecrusher still in stores and Scrapper. So all of them are pretty much circulating in stores right now, and you can find them still. And I think some of them are online as well, so you won't have too much of a problem, I think, in the US finding these guys. But also, I do have to clarify this. If you're on edge about getting this guy, like if you have the Combiner Wars version, I'm going to tell you right now, upgrade to this guy. I think even though he's smaller than Combiner Wars, he looks 10 times better, in my opinion. If you don't want to upgrade, you don't have to. But I am saying he did turn out really, really nice. I think he looks really accurate to his cartoon counterpart, and he just looks so good. I love him so much. So for the parents rating, I'm going to give Devastator a 9. I think kids are going to love this toy a lot. It's really fun to mess around with. He's not too hard to transform in all of his modes. The vehicles are easy. The combine mode's easy. It's just a really nice figure through and through. He's extremely solid. The only downside with him is he does come with so many little pieces. I think these are going to get lost extremely easily, especially if the kids keep him in Devastator mode. Even though there's a lot of places to put those weapons on him in his robot mode, like I said, if you turn him around, you can put him on the back of Long Haul. I don't really see kids utilizing that, and I think the weapons will get lost really easily. So just keep that in mind, and I think kids are really going to love this Devastator. So this is like a big win if you can find all of it. And the last thing I want to say is if you can't find all the figures, if you can't find them all at all, and you have like 1 or 2 of them already, and you can't find the rest, I'm going to say this much. Maybe hold on to them and wait, because I can tell you with 100% certainty, there will be a box set. They're not saying there will right now because they want you to buy them all separate. But in the future, there's going to be a box set. It's either going to be exactly this, or it's going to be G2, or it's going to be Devastation. So just keep your eyes out because they are going to definitely milk this mold to the T. There's just no reality where they don't milk this at all. So I would hang on to these and maybe just sell them on eBay or something later, or Mercari or whatever you use in your country. Sell them later and then get some money back and then buy the box set. And that's only if you can't find them right now. Because if you can find them right now, you get a good price for it, and it's definitely worth it. I think Devastator is such a nice pick. But that's going to do it for this video, guys. Thank you so much for watching the video. And make sure to subscribe to the channel if you like the content. And leave your comments down below. That is the most important part of these videos, what you guys think. Do you guys love Devastator? Do you guys hate Devastator? Or you just kind of feel meh about Devastator? So leave those comments down below, and I will see you guys next time.